An amphitheater might work over here so that people can bring their stuff. I guess I got inspired from my village. It actually has a DJ booth with a whole band in front of it, and my villagers seem to like it. They go and sing into the microphone. Hi everyone, my name is Yamilette and I work in a city planning department. I am also currently a graduate student at UCLA pursuing my Master of Urban and Regional Planning. So being a city planner is being a public servant to your city and the community that resides in it. So at my job, a regular day-to-day is reviewing development plans, checking plan proposals of new development, and seeing if they really align with the city's goals. Being a city planner is definitely a rewarding job that allows you to just keep bettering the environment around you. So Animal Crossing is probably my favorite game. I do have a 5-star island, so it's been really awesome to use my real life work in a video game. Unfortunately, we won't be using the Animal Crossing game because that just takes hundreds of hours. Today we're going to be using a website called Happy Island Designer to showcase an idea of what my ideal city would be like. As you can see, we're starting with a completely blank slate. So what I know that I love about living in Los Angeles is the mountains, and so I know I definitely want cliffs and mountains in the back of my city. This lighter green shows some elevation change, and so I actually want this to be a high point right over here. Let's see, what do we want to start putting first? This is the museum icon, and museums that I love to visit, the Getty or like the Griffith Observatory, that you're up there and then you really have a nice view of the city. And so I feel like in my ideal city, I'd want something like that as well. And so here's the museum. We definitely want some pathways. The staircases look really nice, but we're gonna go for accessibility here. And so we're going to use some ramps. Something that I really enjoyed having on my island that I would want in a city is fossils or the dinosaur structures or paintings right in front of the museum to showcase like what everyone is going to see. So we can add a statue of like T-Rex or something right over here. We're going to add some flowers and definitely some trees to create our botanical garden. Let's make it interesting with different kinds of flowers. Let's put some fountains here and right over here. This can be fountains or a pond or a lake. So let's put the campsite kind of near the museum, because if somebody is visiting, whether it be the community or someone outside of the city, they should be located kind of close to the museum so that they're easily able to go to the museum and learn about the city that they're in. There's no such thing as too many trees because they provide shade. I would include a lot of benches. There would also be telescopes around. Another thing that I love about LA or other cities is bodies of water. We are going to put a river through the city. I've always appreciated water and outdoor spaces, but I feel like, especially with the pandemic that's going on, there's like an extra appreciation to being near nature. And so I know for this city, I'm definitely going to incorporate lots of that. We're gonna put a bridge here so that it can cross, and we're gonna have to continue our path. Oh, I just realized these are stairs, but we're going to pretend this is a ramp, because in the game there's like stairs and ramps, and so we're gonna pretend this is a ramp, again, for accessibility. The main structure in Animal Crossing is the Resident Services Building, which is basically like City Hall, because that's where you can get your permits to build the constructions. And so we're going to put this near the middle. It's kind of like the town square, so it's a place for everyone to meet. Before continuing the town square, the market plaza that I'm going to create here, let's actually put down some houses so we can get an idea of the distances. I'm going to put down 10 houses. For Animal Crossing, they only have single family housing. Imagine this just as a placeholder for housing. I'm not saying my ideal city would be filled with single family housing. We would also want to give everyone some sort of front yard, whether it be an apartment, townhouse, condo, single family home. We would definitely want to give people some space to enjoy themselves. That is just one little village, and so let's create another one on the other side. So the reason why I didn't put them all together is because we don't want to pack them in too much because we do want to give everyone room to move around, but we do want them equal distance to things. They're going to be able to walk to resident services, and then there's going to be lots of open space and public areas that they can enjoy. I personally would like curved paths, but that's also not, I guess, like a thing in Animal Crossing, so we're going to be using straight paths. Around here is going to be like the town square, the plaza for all of the markets and the stores. We would put them all together just because it's like kind of like a one-stop shop. Here is like the general store, and this side it's a clothing store. We would have more shops, so these can be kind of placeholders, but we would also want to include a clothing store, but we also probably would want like a thrift store, because if we're thinking about sustainability, we don't want perfectly good things such as clothing and products to go to waste, so we would include that there. This area can be filled with like a bench for people to sit or to gather, where street performers can go. My city is definitely one that is meant to be lively, and it can change every day. Beneath over here, we are going to have a community garden, and so this is going to have all kinds of trees. So there's gonna be orchids. Just think of these like extra apple or cherry trees to be other types of fruit, because we would want a variety for everyone. We're going to want space for our street vendors, and growing up in LA, they are essential to life here, that I constantly buy things from them. Think of this as like a bunch of street vending going on. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We have our village area to the left and another village area to the right. The idea is to have easy access to the middle area, which is the plaza, and then it would also include a community garden for everyone to utilize along with street vendors. Let's move on to over here. There's a couple of lakes in LA, like Echo Parks, the Silver Lake. I think it's very important to have something where people can exercise. And then let's add another one to the top. Okay, so now we have a path to the bridge that connects everyone to the museum. So let's start working down in this little area. We're gonna dedicate more open space near the top area and around the lake. But over here, we're going to dedicate more use of public spaces. It's extremely important, and it also gives an opportunity to give you access to things that perhaps you may not usually have in your house. With city planning, you would have an idea of who you're designing for. Usually you would have community input, and so these would ideally be public areas that reflect your villagers and like what is important to them. So personally for me, somewhere around here we'll have a basketball court, because I think basketball is the best, but not everyone would agree. So usually with community input, I negotiate, and so we'll figure out these things towards the end of what we will put there. For now, we'll just leave it like that, and then we'll come back to this area. We're going to put the airport around here so that it is near the campsite and away from the residences. We don't want any pollution. Let's do a lake with possibly a waterfall maybe. One of my favorite things to do is hiking, and so big component, my ideal city definitely has lots of things to do outdoors. We would want a more natural route. If people want us to go to the very, very top, we're gonna add our trees. There's gonna be natural wildflowers, a little area for everyone to catch a breath and relax. What's definitely important is having lots of spaces to sit. Probably going to be another path to the bottom of the waterfall, so let's add some over here. That is just basically the hiking area. I'm trying to think of what we would want near an airport. I'm guessing some more stores. We're gonna want to put like a little pier at this lake. That's where you can go jet skiing and kayaking, and so ideally this would be big enough for that. Let's create a little mussel beach. It would be a little bit more elaborate than I guess the typical mussel beach. We are gonna have machines that are more accessible. In my island I have outdoor bookshelves and everything, which I think is really pretty, but I guess it's not realistic for a city, so let's just put a building here that will signify a library, and we're gonna make the library area very, very pretty. Playground area for children. There's like a saying of like, if your city is like safe enough for like children to be out, then it's a good city. I did say I wanted, for me, a basketball court. We're gonna want trees around it, so for the people watching, venturing on an amphitheater might work over here so that people can bring their stuff. I guess I got inspired from my village. It actually has a DJ booth with a whole band in front of it, and my villagers seem to like it. They go and sing into the microphone. So I guess like an area just to gather over here and do performances. Let's just make a path going to the lake area. And then with the beach, you can put some cafes there, like a beach cafe, so people can eat. There probably should be one around here. So this will be up here. Let's also do kind of a deck for water activities. There could be an area here, but cities can always grow. So I think my ideal city would just have open spaces for people to start their businesses and their dreams, so they can always visit City Hall and get their permits for that. So we'll have some open spaces so that they're able to build here. I'm also going to include some buildings to represent other things for indoor use. We're gonna include like fun things. Like this is gonna be a roller rink right over here. Probably a movie theater. I guess we can have like a restaurant here. Maybe in the community garden we can put a community center. All right, here is an bird's eye view of my ideal city. And so here we have the museum, the botanical garden, and here bamboo trees with the Zen garden. And over here would be probably like T-Rex outside. On the lower cliff would be the campsite, and so I thought it was a good idea to be in close access to the museum. Here we have the beach cafe and the beach where people can visit. Over here we have the airport and some different indoor activities that you can do. If you go to the left, it connects to an area where you can hike. Over here, I feel like it's the main plaza area. This would be very lively. In the middle is going to be the community garden, and then to the right and to the left is the village areas. Easy access to both the plaza and to the public areas. Here's a lake that you can do more activities in with the Muscle Beach over here. Here it's going to be a pier. I imagine it like Santa Monica with rides and an arcade. I'm pretty happy with my finished product. This website, I do feel like it is pretty helpful if you're trying to use it for Animal Crossing, just because the limitations on this website is very similar to the one in Animal Crossing, and it's definitely very useful. I'm kind of tempted to recreate my island again because I didn't use it the first time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another episode of Professionals Play. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe because we got plenty more content. Check it out.